Oh, there we are.
There we are.
It's a me.
See, and you can tell the show is starting out well because Dee says Ryan is not allowed to talk about my nuts.
You're gonna love my nuts.
No one can resist my sweaty balls. All right, everybody, welcome. Thank you all for showing up. Hey, look, we're blacked out.
What happened?
What happened was?
What happened was.
There we are.
Oh, we're
there we
back. We're back.
I
There
moved
we
a
go.
window. Sorry,
Don't move windows.
I won't move windows.
You won't move windows?
I won't move windows. Open the door. Open the door.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, Donnie, and the one and only Blue. Wow.
Is Doongie wrong?
I mean, I think we're one and onlys as well.
Yeah,
That doesn't flow as well.
You always say I'm the one and only Donnie G.
Yeah,
True.
but only 1%.
The one and only Ryan, the one and only Donnie, the one and only Blue.
See, it's
That
just-
works. I disagree.
No, that's way too much work.
Or the one and onlys. And then you can just include all
But then
of us.
that's automatically not correct.
All I'm saying is I just feel left out. That's all.
The one and only Ryan Payne.
I don't see where that's my problem.
On that note, welcome to Gamers Week podcast. Like the name says, we analyze the best, the worst, and the weirdest headlines of the past week in the video game industry. Today is episode 172, and today is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025, which is actually the real day of independence, if you know your history. So look at that. Learning something new from the podcast today. As Blue rolls her eyes. We've done it. We've already hit our quota. Yes.
Good night, everybody. Thanks so much.
I am Ryan, aka Retro Game Brews, and I will be your host for this evening. But I am not alone. I have two wonderful human beings sitting beside me in the virtual space here. First up, Mr. Donnie G. He's back from Poland. A little disappointed though. He had spent all this time practicing a stripper routine, only to find out that Poland is not spelled Poleland. Donnie, how you doing today?
Excuse me, I was told that this was Pole land. I mean, I got off the plane in the mankini and everything, and what I did, I put like a couple of my own dollar bills in the mankini just to get things started. You know, just say like, oh, it's like a hype train. But
Classic strat.
that was not it was not met with the reception that I wanted.
It's because they were using euros.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your problem.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like though walking around like that in Europe is somewhat expected.
Yeah, they're very liberal with their sexuality and everything like that. So I thought I would feel right at home, but Poland was not the place for that.
Did you bring the tassels?
No, I did not.
Mr. Nip Nip did not make an
I
appearance.
did not throw
Aw.
the tassels, though.
That should be your drag queen name.
Mr. Nip Nip?
Ms. Nip Nip.
Oh, Miss Nip Nip.
Ms.
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 Not a Mrs. Ms. I'm an independent.
And next up, we have a woman who is currently recruiting for her nudist colony with two very important stipulations. No uggos, and you will not question her when she asks you to drink the Kool-Aid. Blue, how you doing today?
Fine, thank you. There's not a lot of rules, just the two. And so if you want to come join the nudist colony, I think that's only fair.
Hey, you know what? If it's great flavored Kool-Aid, I'm in. I'm definitely in.
Grape is the worst one. You know what? For you, we will have grape. Don't say I never did anything for you.
You got all the barrels, and like one of them, little small one, is grape. It's like, that one's on.
Did you guys have the little drinks, the plastic flavored drinks? Not plastic flavored, but the
You mean
do you guys
kinda?
have like the grape drinks, the green apple drink, the orange drink? It was just that's it. It was drink. It wasn't soda or juice. It was drink.
Is this like a Fago kind of thing, or?
No, but it came in like these little plastic containers with the aluminum peel tops.
Oh, okay, I got you. So it looked like kind of like a barrel as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, the
yes.
barrel drinks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red drink, orange drink, purple drink.
Which was your favorite?
Red drink, always.
Red drink. Okay, it was like a fruit
Unless
punch
there
type
was a
thing.
blue drink, and then.
Of course, you had to.
All right, so before we jump into our reviews, reactions, and requests, want to start your own podcast? Maybe about Dr. Bobby's Baloney Pony Meat Shack, where size matters, but taste matters more? You'll need a place to host your show. Buzzsprout has a user-friendly interface, great analytics, and resources to help you grow your audience. Use the link in the description to get a $20 credit when you sign up for a paid plan.
You know what I think we actually need is a T-shirt with like a logo for Dr. Bobby's Baloney Pony Meat Shack in the merch
Um,
store.
I completely agree with that. I think it's
Hmm
also we should leave it up to AI.
And on the back it says, "Where size matters, but taste matters more."
I love it.
Right.
I love it. PRGE. That's how you'll find us. All right. So before we jump into the reviews, reactions, and requests, one thing I did want to address is we received a comment. Not gonna like jump into who it was or really dive into it. The only thing that I just have a little umbrage with this comment um, was just it was an accusation about our N64 debate, which I thought was fairly friendly
So
and
did
very
I.
cordial. I could have been like, yeah, well, fuck you, Pat. But no, I
You
think
were
we,
at
we
the end, like verbatim. That's what you said.
I know. Trying to forget that. Trying to forget it. But nonetheless, there was one that came up, and a person had taken kind of offense to the idea that I said that there are only 2 RPGs on the system, and one of them is good, and gave me like an entire list of RPGs that were on the system, which I looked into them, and a vast majority of them were Japanese releases only, which I don't speak Japanese, so thanks for that. Uh, I did find that there was one other one that was a traditional RPG, not a tactical RPG or an action adventure game with RPG elements, but a traditional RPG, Aiden's Chronicle. So I will say, I will admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong in that instance. However, I did look up the reception on it and it scores a 48 out of 100. So I think my point about there being only one good RPG on the N64 still holds true. So I'm going to stick to that. And there you go.
I know what you're referring to, Frank. I know what you're referring to.
You feel better now?
I do.
Yeah.
I do feel a little bit
Okay.
better. All right. So,
Well,
yes.
actually, while we're making corrections, I should say that last episode I referenced that the infamous Drunk Donnie episode was episode 12, and I saw some people went back and downloaded episode 12, and that's my bad. The infamous episode was episode 11.
Ah,
But the good news is those people who went and downloaded episode 12 got to hear our fantastic interview with Howard Scott Warshaw.
there we go.
So-
There we go.
If that was one of you looking for Drunk Donnie, I apologize, but you did get a pretty good consolation prize.
I sound nothing like Howard Scott Warshaw whenever I'm drunk.
Not even when you're drunk.
No.
All right. First off, it's from Block's Gaming Review. It says, I don't think the N64 is overrated, largely because it hasn't ever had the greatest of reputations. Its library is small, the controller is divisive, and it wasn't a huge seller. Still had some of the best games of the era, but it can be a polarizing console for many. I think that's a fair assessment.
Huh.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
I mean, okay, so I'm not a big fan of the N64. I
Mhm.
like it's okay, but hasn't ever had the greatest of reputations. I don't know. I can't really say that I agree
Read
with
the
that
next
one.
comment.
Well, yeah, its library is small. The controller is divisive. I understand the controller. That's been the
No,
problem.
the next comment.
It'll be coming in.
Well, he has to read it. It's his thing.
I know, but you could like read it in your head.
That's why it didn't have a good reputation.
Anyway, I will say I think its reputation has actually grown though as nostalgia has come along is what I will say. So I think it's probably more revered today than it was back in the day. I think the PlayStation was much more popular for most gamers.
I would agree with that.
Next up, greatest games. Yes, the N64 was overrated because of the hype at the time was off the charts. Nintendo built expectations incredibly high and then kept promising a 64 disk drive attachment to make up for the main shortcomings of the system. Storage space, only Japan received it. It wasn't bad, but it was overrated. And I think that only, like 7 or 8 games came out for the N64 DD in Japan anyway. So
Hmm.
and I got to hold a few while I was at the Museum of Play.
You got to hold some double D's.
Mm-hmm. Like a 64 double D. That's pretty. That's an enormous bra.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And last up, Son of Pootie Tang, which I think might be my favorite comment about the show I've ever heard. I haven't had diarrhea even one time after becoming a listener of this show. Seriously, it's great. So stick it in your ears and forget how shit the world is right now. I love it. I love this
9 out of 10 podcast listeners recommend Gamers Week podcast.
comment.
This time with no diarrhea.
I think we should create commercials, right? Like a pharmaceutical commercial. Have you thought about trying Gamers Week podcast?
Well, I did reply to Son of Pootie Tang. I did a quick little Photoshop on a Pepto-Bismol ad.
With our logo on it.
Nausea, heartburn, upset stomach. Wait.
Up-
Nausea,
no-
heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea, and then just slap the Gamers Week logo on the bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
We will be selling those at PRG.
What won't we be selling at PRG?
Absolutely nothing, up to and including Donnie's body.
What? Hey.
Hey, we're gonna have an auction.
Did you guys look at a trade?
All right, so why don't we go ahead and shout out our patrons?
But we couldn't do what we do without the help of our gorgeous patrons. Here are the generous folks supporting Gamers Week on Patreon. Absolutely the best podcast, A Work in Progress, Bobson Dugnut, Blues Little Sis, Loudmouth, Retro Blast Pat, B&T Zilla Guy, The Mad Milkman, Seven Castle Forest, Crunchy Kong, Snacks the Handsome Chef, Frank Grande, Love Retro BTW, Steven Sand, Ramboski, Terry Canair, Don't Make Me Pull This Car Over, Games with Coffee, Hybrid Divide, You Fall Before Me, Davey PGH, The Pixel Pond Family, including Shannon and Luke, Zach, aka Old Cluster Nuts, Puzzle Butter, number 1 Blue Sick Voice fan, John Barron, Sassy Sony, Evil Lust, Rai Wants This Boy's Soul, Mega Retro Man, Gameatroid, Mora Deep, Michael, Never Mind That Shit, Here Comes Mongo, Kite, Emo-esque, Bill Tucker, You Know, The Bleeps, The Sweeps, and The Creeps. Fruitcakes, I Hate It When My Shorts Get Twisted, Pickled Pepper, and Ducks with Thick Thighs. If you like what you hear today, and we really hope you do, please consider joining us on Patreon. Your support helps cover the cost of producing the show, as well as other cool stuff we'll be doing, like prizes and giveaways. You'll also gain access to our bi-weekly, but on hiatus until August, patron-only bonus cast called Gamers Week Uncut, Patrons with Benefits. Visit patreon.com/gamersweek. Follow the link in the show notes to learn more.
All right, before we jump into the headlines, I just wanted to say today I am celebrating belated Canada Day. I have recently picked up a
Ketchup
pack
Pringles, huh?
ketchup Pringles, and it's what's great about it too? French on the other side. I'm learning.
Oh.
the French, huh?
If I knew this was a thing we were doing, I would go grab the ketchup Doritos that we have downstairs.
I am actually getting some of those in the mail.
They're okay.
Yeah, they're not bad. I'll take
They're
them.
okay. They're not great, but they're okay.
All right, why don't we take a look at our headlines?
All right, this headline segment is proudly sponsored by Absolutely the Best Podcast, A Work in Progress. Each episode, George and Zach discuss and rank all the best things, starting with deep dives into every movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This week, they've got a trivia question for us. Which 2025 World Video Game Hall of Fame inductee does Joaquin Torres briefly play a feature phone, i.e., not a smartphone, port of in Captain America Brave New World? Visit them at absolutelythebest.net or follow the link in the show notes.
I am probably out for this one because I've never seen Captain America Brave New World.
Yeah, but it's the 2025 World Video Game Hall of Fame inductee, so there's 4 choices.
Which I have memorized off the top of my head, thankfully.
Well,
Wow.
I'm here to help you out. Mr. Attitude.
Is this going to be like a multiple choice? I like this. Okay.
That's what 4 choices means. Multiple choice.
You sure?
Defender, GoldenEye 007, Quake, or Tamagotchi?
She says feature phone, not smartphone. So we go with Tamagotchi.
What
Okay.
the hell's a feature phone? What does that mean?
Maybe it's like a Palm Pilot.
Let me check my Palm Pilot. I have yet to see Captain America: Brave New World. I was waiting for it to come on Disney Plus. It's on Disney Plus. I just have not had the chance to sit down and watch it. But based on the 4 inductees, I can't imagine he's playing a Tamagotchi. And I feel like 007, nobody would be playing that on a smartphone right now. So it's either Quake or Defender. I'm going to go with Quake.
Why are you shaking your head? That
I
wasn't
did between those two choices, right? I was going to say Defender was going to be my second choice. So the fact that he went with Quake, I was shaking my head.
The answer is Defender.
See,
Defender.
I told you.
Defender.
Are you going to redact all of that, by the way?
I haven't decided. We'll see what I feel like tomorrow. Sometimes it's like when it's last week when it was Pat, like I just cut out the discussion. Redacted, next section. 'Cause it's GoldenEye says, I would have said GoldenEye for reasons.
No.
And see Zach in the chat clarifying, a feature phone is a flip phone
Flip phone.
for your information.
Okay, well then now that makes sense because nobody's playing Quake or Quake or 007 on a flip phone.
They play Doom on a pregnancy test.
Yeah, but flip phones suck.
I'm sure you can play Doom on a flip phone if you can play it on a pregnancy test.
Pregnancy tests are awesome and flip phones suck.
Well, that depends.
Puzzle Better in the chat is saying, one or more of us should change our patron name to the Sick Sheik's Sixth Sheep Sick, or other tongue twisters, just saying. And have we reached a point where we need to start banning patrons?
We're getting there. We are definitely getting there.
And Duck says, Doom mentioned, Ducks appears. Welcome in, Ducks in disguise.
See, I knew it. It's like if you say Doom out in the ether,
The
ducks
six
will
sheeps-
arrive.
Six sheep's sick. The 6 sheep's sick. Yeah, fuck that.
No.
Yeah, kind of like Beetlejuice or Candyman, right?
Yeah.
Helen.
Bloody Mary, right?
Helen.
All right, this week's headlines. Microsoft began its fiscal year Wednesday by laying off thousands of employees, expanding one of the largest runs of layoffs in company history. In an ongoing effort to trim its workforce, Microsoft said as much as 4%, roughly 9,000 of the company's employees, could be affected by Wednesday's layoffs. The move follows 2 waves of layoffs in May and June, which saw Microsoft let go more than 6,000 employees. Since May, the company has laid off over 15,000 employees company-wide. Unsurprisingly, the layoffs sent shockwaves through the gaming industry. The employees, or 200 people, Microsoft-owned King division that makes Candy Crush, is cutting about 10% of its employees, or 200 people, while other units like ZeniMax have also confirmed that they're cutting jobs. Microsoft is also laying off more than 70 people at its Forza Motorboat Studios. I'm leaving it in. 10 turn.
you didn't make the sound, though. How am I supposed to leave it in with that sound?
Are they built for speed or built for comfort? You motorboat son of a bitch.
Turn 10, as well as canceling its Perfect Dark and Ever Wild games. The studio behind Perfect Dark, The Initiative, is also closing down. Both Matt Ferrari, founder of ZeniMax, that's a terrible pronunciation, and Greg Mayles, Rare's most experienced and influential game designer, are leaving their respective studios as a result of the layoffs. Employees in Microsoft's Xbox division, known as Microsoft Gaming, are being hit hard by these layoffs, although an exact number and divisions are not known yet. In a memo sent to employees, Xbox boss Phil Spencer,
Drink.
wrote that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. Jesus. The success we're seeing currently is based on the success in future years. And a key part of that strategy is discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. In October 2024, NBC reported that Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella's compensation for the fiscal year 2024 totaled $79,106,183. The rich get richer, the rest of us get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a punchline at this point because I mean, one thing that should be considered when you're reading about all these layoffs is that Microsoft just released their fiscal year end of fiscal year numbers, and they are reporting 17% profit increase from 2023 to 2024. And so, what better way to celebrate that? As Phil Spencer says, well, we've never been stronger. We've never had more players, blah, blah, blah. So, you know what we should do? We should fuck over all the people who got us there.
Right.
Literally, all the people who made this money for us. We don't need them. Get rid of them.
Including
I mean,
yourself, Phil Spencer.
Yeah, right. He's leaving.
No, he's not. Well,
No?
He
so
is.
there was a rumor floating around that he was going to retire after the next Xbox iteration comes out. Xbox, whatever they're going to call it. If their dongle, who knows?
Dongle.
Thank you.
Dongle.
And then Microsoft quickly swooped in after that and said, no, he's not. He's not retiring. Nobody said anything like that. So
something that just came out 8 hours ago said that he's working with Sarah Bond to ensure a smooth transition for her takeover as CEO of Microsoft Gaming once he retires.
mm-hmm. And then if you keep searching, they quickly refuted that. Or at
I don't
least
like
claimed to.
I don't like to do my own research. I'm sorry.
Well, that's refreshing sometimes. But I mean, who knows? Because CEOs only stay there so long.
Right.
And it's about time. It would make sense for Phil to move on. But perhaps it's just better for investors if they don't make too many changes all at once and don't want to spook like the shareholders. And so who knows? Who knows? There's no reason to believe he wouldn't leave eventually.
Yeah, Eldronok said, I want out of this timeline. Take me back to the 90s and early 2000s, please.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know what to say about this topic that we haven't said before. It's the same CEOs who are letting go of people, who are shuttering down studios. Microsoft has done, like, they've purchased studios en masse. And for what, I mean, to get the IPs, great, but then they shutter the studios that have made those IPs what we know of today. And so where do you go from that? If you shut down a studio that's known for this IP and the success of this IP, do you hand that IP off to another studio internally and say, here, try to do something with this? Okay, well, we try. Oh, nope, that's crap. We're going to shut you down too. And where does it go?
I mean, look at like a game like Perfect Dark. That would be a perfect opportunity for that, franchise to be revitalized, right? And at the end of the day, we're not going to get a chance to experience that because Microsoft owns that IP now because it's part of Rare. So we're never going to see a sequel to Perfect Dark, and that to me is a shame, honestly. And if we're talking about N64 games that I actually like, Perfect Dark is one of them. Ironically enough, and I think it's GoldenEye. I'm sorry, I think it's a better game than GoldenEye, right? As far as first-person shooters go. On the system, so I would have loved to see another one of those. So it's not only is that we're losing out, or people are losing out on their jobs, which we've talked about in mass or at great length rather. That is extremely unfortunate and it sucks. But we're also, as a result of all of these cancelations and layoffs, we're losing out on really good content that could be, and then it will never be as a result. So it's a double whammy for all of us, I think, as gamers. This is a net zero for all of us.
Yeah, and the Perfect Dark remake was announced last year at Summer Game Fest, with great fanfare, and people were super excited. And then we will never know. I mean, I don't see any reason why the game would not have been hugely successful.
Completely agree.
But we will literally never know why they decided to cancel it. Not only just cancel it, but close the studio entirely, which is crazy. Of course, let's all remember that they have put a ton of money into their Microsoft Muse AI program. So, I mean,
They're just
we all
trimming the
know,
fat so they can,
yeah,
yeah.
we all know why this is happening and what they hope to do with this money they're quote unquote saving, besides continue to buy each other yachts and Ferraris.
I think Mako Rhapsody said it well. Yes, yes, very sad. Anyways, look at our quarterly profit.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So Microsoft purchases Team Cherry.
Shut the
Oh,
fuck up. What the
oh,
hell are you doing?
oh, he put that out there. It's in the
And
ether
then
now.
shuts down the studio before they could release still song.
For those of you who are listening on the audio show, she just slinked down into her chair. And all we can see is just like the little part of the top of her head.
I have no more will to live.
No.
As if the world wasn't dark and horrible enough. You have to go and put more dark and horrible things out there. And you're the worst kind of person, and I hate you.
That's the shittiest thing that Microsoft. I mean, that's the shitty kind of thing that Microsoft would probably end up doing.
Right.
You know, you're not wrong, and that's why it scares the shit out of me. D says, I was going to make a joke about popping the cherry, but I guess it's not the time.
No. But $79 million
Yeah.
CEO Satya Nadella received for.
Now, to be clear, it's like 72 million in stock options.
Which, by laying people off, his stock options explode and go higher.
Yeah.
So that will probably continue to grow. And he'll just sit on something from an income standpoint and make more money because of off the backs of being like, look, we cut costs. Look at us. Why
Yeah.
is it that labor is always the first thing we cut, not like inefficiency or
Middle management.
or like
Upper
flying
management.
flying first class everywhere we go, and because God forbid, right, we can't have a steak and lobster dinner every night on the company's dime. We got to cut everybody else out.
And that's the worst part, is that Microsoft will always get away with this.
Right.
Because they're one of the biggest employers in the world. So if they offer you a job in a really awful job market, you're probably going to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they may fuck you over 3 years from now. And it's not exactly like, as a consumer, you can say, I'm going to boycott Microsoft entirely. That would be almost impossible.
Right.
To not use a single Microsoft product ever. I said almost impossible.
Yeah, like only the eclectic and the very niche people, like they use.
Right.
I run Linux. I'm sorry, I don't use Windows. And an Xbox? No, I don't do that.
You're right, I think, but I've used Linux before, and it is not for the faint of heart. Is what I'll say. It's like, if you know how to code, Linux is great.
Oh, absolutely. Like
Right?
the user interface for Linux, I don't remember it being as user friendly as a Windows is, but with all the with the way that Windows has gotten previously, it's just not the warm fuzzy thing that we're used to with like Windows XP and Windows Windows Jesus. Yeah, Windows XP.
Man.
God, I miss you.
Donnie's having a moment, everyone. First time
man.
chatter Ash Meow says, would it be almost possible? Run Linux instead of Windows, LibreOffice or Google Drive instead of Office, no
Yeah.
phone, no tablet. What else is there?
Right.
The day-to-day life of no phone, no tablet. That's tough. You can do it if you're very determined, but that's tough anymore.
Yeah. I got an iPad. That's my tablet. It doesn't run Windows. I've got an iPhone. That's not Microsoft.
And you know what's funny
But you
is...
can game on your Mac PC.
I don't have one of those.
Got him. And that's what I was gonna say, because at work, the company I works for, everybody has a Mac, but you know what we use? Microsoft Teams.
Yeah,
That's funny.
same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right, Ash Meow. As in, Microsoft doesn't make a phone or a tablet. They used to. I did have a Windows phone
I
back
do remember
in
those.
2010, and that thing sucked.
The worst interface I've ever seen. Hands down.
Yeah.
No Slack? Team sucks.
No, we don't use Slack at my
Teams
company.
really sucks.
All right, next up, video game spending has taken a nosedive among Gen Z, according to data from American research group Circana.
Circana.
So yeah, that too.
That too.
In a June 24th report from the Wall Street Journal, Circana found that young Zoomers were spending nearly 25% less per week on video games than in 2024, while purchases for accessories, small appliances, technology, and total general merchandise, wow, that's a catch-all, have all dropped with young adults.
General merchandise.
Yep. Merchandising.
Merchandising.
Video games took the lead in Circana's data. The drop off was enormous for 18 to 24-year-olds, as data on other age groups revealed a minor single digit decline, well under 5%. Overall, purchasing by 18 to 24s has plummeted, especially when compared to other age groups, says Matt Piscatella, executive director and video game industry analyst for Circana. The rug's not just being pulled out from under young people, it's being burned while they're still standing on it. Young consumers are traditionally expected to spend heavily in the entertainment sector, given college students and recent grads typically have low financial responsibilities. But a difficult job market, student loans, and particularly high credit delinquency rate among those aged 18 to 29 appears to be changing that. If the Gen Z's young adults can't spend on gaming, this isn't a promising sign for the industry's future. When everything else is too expensive for you to live, entertainment takes the backseat. Let's be honest.
Silly Gen Z buying food instead of video games.
Right. How dare they?
They should be thinking about the market conditions. Selfish. That's what they are. Selfish.
But I thought if they're the real fans, they'll figure it out, right?
Right.
course.
Yeah, exactly.
Piracy, piracy, piracy.
And you know what?
I
That may
mean-
be a solution. You're right. Especially among a group of people who probably don't care,
Right.
at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of make you wonder if this continues and the way the economy is going. I don't see why it wouldn't continue in perpetuity. But what is that going to do to the video game industry? Because for the last several years, video games have been going free to play in the hopes that, or in the expectation, I should say, that they'll get lots of microtransactions for people, end up
Right.
making more than they would have if it was a equivalent single purchase of the game to begin with. But this kind of throws a loop in that if the youngest gamers
Mhm.
are not buying microtransactions, because it's a full 25% less that they're spending on games, then that business model is not going to work at all.
So maybe they're the heroes in this scenario. If we can get to a point in which the Gen Z crashes this whole microtransaction marketplace, I would get up and applaud. Be like, thank you for taking the mantle, because nobody else can do it because everybody's too busy buying that extra accessory for their Candy Crush game in order to get to the next level, or that skin for their gun that they really want.
Right.
So,
And then
so
Gen Z would say, well, thank you, but can we have maybe like a job with a livable wage?
Mhm.
no, buy this
No.
game instead.
Yeah.
So what happens in that respect if Gen Z crashes the video game market, which is highly unlikely? Studios will go under. Microsoft is already shuttering divisions. They'll shutter
Yep.
more studios and whatnot and say, okay, we're only going to focus on this division focuses on mobile games. This division focuses on these types of games, yada, yada, yada. And then you're down, instead of having all of these studios, again, you only have a few, but that in turn will probably drive more indie studios to pop up. The two-man groups, the three-man groups, or women groups, sorry, people groups.
You'll get there eventually.
Oh, wow.
All of these people that used to have a job in the video game industry as developers and whatnot, and they are laid off, and now they want to go start their own studio to do whatever and make these good games. It's going to suck, but it's also going to drive a lot of indie studios out there to make decent games, which they're already doing. We don't need these big studios like Microsoft and Sony to give us the hits that we want, because they're not doing it. Like Final
Yeah.
Fantasy, like we've talked about, Final Fantasy has not had a great iteration in
No.
I don't know how long. That is debatable. That's a debate. That's a debate Manning topic right there. But I don't
For
feel
the
like
next
it
Gamer
has.
Week debates.
I could do that.
Yeah. See, and Puzzle Better says in the chat, I never just BitTorrented everything I wanted on campus during my college years.
Nope.
Nope, not me.
Yeah, that was the age of Napster for me. So I,
See, and GoldenEye says you have to go to restaurants and order the breadsticks and the lemon soup.
Just keep it coming. Keep it coming. All you can eat, baby.
You know what? You make a really interesting point, Donnie, too, because I think the most vulnerable people in a video game crash of this kind, right, is those AAA studios.
Yeah.
Because their overhead is probably considerably higher than anyone else's, which is why they've turned to this whole microtransactions model. Because let's be honest, selling games traditionally it's just not profitable for them because they have to spend so much to make money. Uh, so it's either slash job slash budget slash advertising or get out while the getting's good, if you will. Uh, but the companies that that are indie studios, right? They would be much less affected by this
Of
because
course.
there are obviously as well they're already niche marketplaces anyway, and the fans of indie games like that will, I think, still buy their games. So it just, yeah, I think it creates a unique situation where it's kind of like the banks in the late 2000s, too big to fail. I don't think the video game industry though is going to get a bailout.
I don't think so either. That's an industry that, that's a luxury. Not everybody needs video games. So you
Mhm.
let something like Microsoft, I mean, and granted, Microsoft is not going to fail, but let's just say in that terms, that's one division of Microsoft.
Right.
So you can like, okay, we're just going to cut out video games. We're not going to do it anymore.
I think they're going that route anyway, honestly. So it seems like they're trying to figure out a way to slowly back out of the industry. But I mean, you can say it. You can say it. What do we got here? Sega.
It's
Yeah,
going to happen.
Seems like you're wearing the wrong hat tonight.
Right? Here, let me take that off.
With conviction, he just like chucked that down. That was
I
awesome.
just dropped it on the floor.
You take off your hat, then you throw it on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the morning light. Gamers Week, podcasting night.
Eldernox says, imagine if Sega just appeared out of nowhere and revived the Dreamcast, especially in the wake of what Microsoft pulled today.
Dreamcast
And
2?
didn't we just hear that they have recently taken on a new, I think it's CEO, right? At Sega, who has a pledge to revive Sega to its former glory.
Shuji
So-
Utsumi.
Mm-hmm. Sega president.
So,
Shuji Utsumi.
and to quote the kid from Angels in the Outfield, hey, it could happen.
I don't know if Sega should be getting back into the console
I don't think so
business.
either.
It's their track records with that is just abysmal. But I still firmly believe that Sega is going to mount some tremendous comeback in the video game industry. Take back all of their IPs, release it on their own specific platform somehow, some way, and tell Nintendo to suck it, to stop. Like, nope, we're not going to be releasing any future Sega IPs on the Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to them, that would probably be really poor business decision, but I appreciate the desire to
might
stick
be-
it to the man.
Yeah, that might be the kind of thing that Shuji Utsumi dreams about in his private time. But the reality of it, it's not gonna.
It's like, but I really like money.
Yeah. We really like money. Gen Z's not gonna spend money on Sega either. So
I like money, but I hate Miyamoto. What to do?
What's a Sonic?
you mean that movie?
All right, next up, the AI startup Runway, which recently partnered with AMC Networks, is now trying to break into the gaming industry. The company has plans to launch its latest platform called Game Worlds next week. The new tool lets Runway users create something akin to an interface text based game that can generate text and images from AI. Even though Game Worlds can only produce basic designs for now, the company's CEO, Cristobal Valenzuela,
Ah.
yes, is I tried to do that was a terrible Spanish accent. I apologize. I
I don't
tried to
think
be
you
fancy.
pronounced a single name right tonight.
Yep. In hoping that it will be the first step towards AI use in the gaming industry. Valenzuela told The Verge that generated video games are coming later this year, adding that Runway is looking to partner with video game companies, which will be able to use the company's AI tools while it gets access to video game datasets to train its AI on. However, the use of AI in video games has already drawn a lot of criticism from industry professionals, even leading to the SAG-AFTRA union striking against video game companies using its members' likenesses and voices to train AI. Runaway has faced its own controversy for reportedly training its AI on YouTube videos and pirated movies despite being against the video's platform terms.
Oh.
That's the steward I want for the future of AI video games.
What could go wrong?
Right. So listen, this is for business purposes. We shouldn't have to pay for this stuff. Let's get this stuff for free so we can make more profit. Well, why can't I do it? I'm just a broke college student. Well, we need your money.
So you can create games for them, right?
Right, because if you create your game on this, it's not your game.
Right.
100% guarantee it's not your game.
Right. So you're going to train their AI by saying, these are the things I want. And it's going to compile all that data and say, gamers are really looking for this experience in the aggregate. Let's create a game that way. And you have trained basically Skynet on how to kill you.
Not only that, you've paid them for the privilege of doing it, because this will be a free use tool. You'll pay them to use Runway. You'll create content for them. You'll train their AI for them. They will profit and you will get nothing. That's a great business model.
You get nothing. You lose.
But even better, you'll think that this is a great idea.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's I think the worst part about that is that there are so many people out there that want to get involved with this whole AI revolution, right? So there are going to be people who are very willing to be a part of this and to contribute, right? And, not aware, maybe potentially of the outcomes, or maybe they are. I don't know, but nonetheless, this is not something that will just fade away into obscurity. I'm sure that there will be examples of that, and we'll be talking about it on the show. Oh yeah, another game from Runaway Studios, blah 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 blah, for their Games World platform. Here's what you can expect, and I just again we've talked about this from a creative standpoint. AI is just not there, and it's probably won't be there for another 10 years from what we can say. And then you're going to bring this up 2 years from now and prove me wrong. And you're going to say, I have the receipts, Blue.
I never do that.
We've been talking about virtual reality since the 90s and how,
Right.
it's just a couple years away. It's just a couple. Look what they're doing now. It's a couple years away. It's continuously a couple of years away. And AI is good for certain things, like compiling a bunch of data really quickly and saying, hey, like, give me a recipe for this. Bam, here you go. How do I do this? Bam, here you go. But we've talked about this before, generating video games that actually bring out the human emotion in people that makes you want to play a video game and stay connected to a video game. I don't think it has that. It doesn't know the human heart.
Well, that's why Runway needs you to train it for them.
I don't know. I don't know how to put that, actually.
I think, yeah, there is a sense of that element of human connection, right? That experience of being a human that maybe AI just doesn't understand. I mean, AI is super polite when you talk to it. So they've got that down. good for ChatGPT. Um, but at the end of the day, that human experience, that's some of the best stories, some of the best video games have come from personal
Of
experiences and
course.
stories that have been translated into a different, genre. But nonetheless, you're only again drawing from the source material, which is what you have at hand. There's nothing new with
And
AI.
there's a wealth of stories and whatnot out there, but how are you
Mhm.
going to put that together to bring out that emotional response in somebody, in a human?
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's been proven to happen yet.
I would say again, it feels to me like it's 10 years away,
Yeah.
right? When we can figure out how to not make six fingers on someone's hand, I think that's a good start.
You
I've
ask
seen
too
some
much.
messed up AI stuff.
I just made an AI image today that had a clock, and the top of the clock was 21, not 12. So,
Hey, at least they figured out numbers. Um, but I think it's interesting to look at these three new stories that we've covered so far tonight and just see the patterns that kind of emerging.
right.
Microsoft laying off people, doing a push into AI, Gen Z not spending money on video games either because they're not interested or because they can't. New AI startups. The future of video games, I feel like not just in video games but in the world at large, it's almost like the tech industry is trying to force the next essentially industrial revolution where we are going to replace the mass workers with this super efficient
Hmm.
system, and then we won't need people anymore. But they're trying, like I said, they're trying to force it right now.
Right. Well, everybody wants to be the first because then you get uh, the jump into the marketplace,
Of
right?
course.
First to market is everyone's goal. The only problem
Everybody follows
is
you after that.
right. So you get the name recognition. You get the I mean, if you think about it, it's like I just had an example and it just went off my head. But yeah, a lot of companies are looking to do that. But the problem is that um, everything that doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to is still on the marketplace, and we're all kind of clamoring and getting used to this, and we're just getting crap. So what it's done is it's created a name for itself of being unreliable and just you know poor quality, and that I think will be a hindrance when it comes to the needs in order for them to have an AI generated, completely AI generated game. Everything is built from the ground up from an AI perspective. It needs to be an absolute banger for everyone to be convinced. Otherwise, everyone's going to look for that single flaw and say this is crap because we had a computer make it and not a human being. And it's again because of the reputation that it's built along the way, because we were trying to get too how we were trying to jump into this marketplace too early, or at least from an AI game developer standpoint.
Hmm. UFO before me says in the chat, breaking news, Geo Media is selling the game news site Kotaku,
Yeah.
which
It
is
says
interesting.
they're winding down.
Yeah.
Operations. Kotaku
I
sold to
mean,
Gizmodo owner Kelops.
I'm not going to cry any
FedEx.
tears over Kotaku shutting down because they were always an absolute shit site,
Hmm.
biased and got their clicks on sensationalism
Hmm.
and all that kind of stuff. But I guess it's another nail in the coffin for game journalism
Yeah,
and even more the gaming industry at large. Changes
it's
are afoot,
it's the
folks.
theme of tonight.
I guess, yeah.
Ha-
Everything changes, but it feels like more of the same.
have we seen all that we can, all that we can see from video games?
No, I don't think that's
No.
the case.
I
Mm-mm.
I mean, you think about the core genres that are out there: role
Yeah.
playing, platformers, roguelite, whatever, card deck games. I what else is there? We've done full
I
motion
think
video. We've done all this stuff.
full motion. He brings
Yeah.
up full motion
Full
video.
motion video. That was the peak. We may as well just stopped there.
I think every 10 years or so, we always have this thought like we've done it all. And then something comes along that becomes a game changer. And we didn't see it coming. Battle royales, right? Like Fortnite. Nobody saw that
Mm-hmm.
coming.
They were
Minecraft,
huge.
nobody saw it coming. You know, and so I still hold hope that there's something else that can grab our attention. That's a new genre. That's a completely different way to play, and it's enjoyable for everybody. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, it's a concern, right? And I think people though have been saying that about certain media for years. You know,
Yeah.
oh, every book has been told, every book story has been told, every movie has been made already. That's why we can't make any good new movies. We're doing all repeats, right?
Yeah.
But they're still coming out with great stuff.
Yeah. And it seems like every year we get a surprise title that really moves people that we didn't expect. Like this year we got Expedition 33.
Mhm.
Nobody saw that coming. Nobody thought it would be that successful.
And we
But
got Jizzle Physics.
and we got jizzle physics out of it.
Jizzle physics.
So you
We get
see,
the memes. The memes alone are worth their weight in gold.
there's still reason to love games and play games.
I'm not excited.
Yeah.
Yes, I do a video game podcast, and I look around my office and I'm surrounded by video games, older video games, but the current state of the video game industry does not excite me like it used to, like it did 25 years ago.
On days like today, it's hard to be excited.
Yeah.
And I think that that's been the case for a little while, at least. I mean, things like E3 have shut down and all those things. I think the pandemic had a huge impact on how excited we can get for the gaming industry. And now with the introduction of AI, it just seems futile a bit. It's going to be okay. Do you need a hug?
I could use a hug right now.
All right, let's stretch it out.
Stretch what out?
Oh, you almost got caught.
Now he's picky about what kind of hug he wants. Rambowski says Jizzle Physics is my new password at work.
Please tell me that's true.
New password.
That's why we do this show. Moments like that.
New password cannot be the same as old password.
Some of their IT team is looking at it. It's like, say Jizzle Physics?
When I have to reset my password too many times, I just set it as "fuck you" and whatever the company is that's making me do it.
Oh yeah. When I was about to leave my previous company, it was I fucking hate this place, and then the next one was I can't wait to go. Fuck you all. Like,
yep.
And every time I log into my computer, I can't wait to go. Fuck.
Then you have to call tech support to unlock it for you. What's your password for this account? Well, you got a pen?
I forgot.
Yeah, you should be able to check it in your database.
My boss made it up for me.
And Rambowski says, it's true, Professor.
You're my hero.
Password.
You are my hero. All right, next up, Nintendo's ability to ban Switch 2 consoles from accessing all online features has come under fire from Brazil's consumer rights watchdog, which has now launched a legal challenge. Brazilian authorities have argued that Nintendo's recent updated user agreement, which grants the company the ability to vastly limit any Switch 2 consoles' functionality, violates users' right to access services that they've paid for. Procon SP, Sao Paulo's Office of Brazil's Public Consumer Protection and Defense Program, has now requested that Nintendo ditch their clause from its user agreements. In a statement, Procon SP said that it has already lodged a complaint with Nintendo of America and that Mario Maker has now appointed a legal team to look at the issue. Reports of the Switch 2 consoles being banned from accessing online services has repeatedly surfaced since the platform's launch last month. Users impacted by the issue have suggested that the bans are tied to the usage of flash memory cards and specifically the MIG Switch device, which can enable game piracy. But at least 2 users have now reported buying a secondhand Switch 2 from a major retailer with the ban already in place, prompting fears that more banned consoles will end in the hands of new owners. And according to accounts from users with banned consoles, Nintendo customer support has said that block is permanent. In a Reddit post last month, one poster claimed that Nintendo's permabanned their Switch 2 due to the username TwinkLink and was apparently told by Nintendo. God, that's great. That the permaban cannot be lifted even by Nintendo itself. Pour one out for Twinkling.
I know, right? Like went through that Reddit post, just like, what the heck is going on? Because, in the late night Mario Kart lobbies, you see some names, you see some filthy names, and so
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, there's no way that Twinklink gets you banned. But this user in the Reddit thread was swearing up and down that that was the case, and it wasn't their account; it was their sister's account using their Switch. She changed her name to Twinklink, and poof, then it was. Then it was banned, and
Hmm.
supposedly this user calls Nintendo support. Nintendo support apparently is laughing their ass off on the phone and says, us, probably your username that did it, and then advises them, oh yeah, we can't turn that off, you might as well just take it back to the store.
So
I don't
now,
buy it, but
no, I don't. I don't buy it for a username. Come on, they would just
yeah.
say, "Hey, you need to change." At the very least, they would say you need to change this. This name's not allowed, and
Yeah,
not
Mr.
perma.
Boo uses the username Killjoy, and they made him change it because you can't use the word kill.
Right.
So he has to do the
Like I
backslashes.
said, at the very least, they're going to make you change the username. This person probably did something malicious. Now their account is permabanned, or their console is just bricked. Yeah, you can still play a game, but you can't access the eShop. You can't do anything else. You can't play online with your friends. And you're going to see a lot more people return these back to the store. Oh, my Switch broke. I don't know. Can I get a refund or a replacement? And then that company will be like, all right, we'll just repackage it, send it back to somebody else. Now you buy it, give it to little Timmy for his birthday. Yay, I got a Switch too. I'm going to go onto the eShop. Banned. You're like, what the fuck?
And
Well,
that's
what?
actually, it sounds like that's what happened to two users, is that somebody who obviously was doing things maliciously, trying to get around, probably from a piracy
Of course.
perspective, kind of ended up playing the retail company for aloof because they probably have a 30-day return policy, right?
Yeah.
And so,
But here's what I don't get, and what I kind of don't buy either about this is, why is Nintendo stupid enough to brick the console itself rather than the user account?
that's a good point.
What does it matter if the console's already been paid for?
What I think she's saying is that wouldn't it make more sense to permaban the user rather than try to make it so that that console can never be used ever again?
Well, if Nintendo's so against the secondhand market,
That's a good point.
then what does it matter to them? They've already received the money for the Switch 2. So they don't want people to have the ability to go out and resell their Switch 2 to somebody else and resell that to another store and have them resell it. So to them, they don't give a shit.
Fair, but this also doesn't solve your problem because the user can just go do it again, live to pirate another day, so to
And
speak.
yeah, buy another Switch 2, get banned again. Nintendo's still
Mm-hmm.
getting the money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we just got a raid from PlayPod. Thank you so much for the raid.
Woohoo!
Welcome in, Raiders. We are Gamers Week Podcast. We run
Hello
a
there.
weekly podcast show right here on Twitch, and you can listen live or you can listen to our audio on Friday.
But as long as you're here, you may as well listen live.
She makes a great point.
Yeah. It'll be interesting though to see what happens with this legal challenge
Mhm.
that has been filed. Would this set a precedent for other countries to pursue it? Does anybody else care? Or would Nintendo say, well, we've had to change it in one country, we may as well update all the countries just because?
I think
Right.
that's more likely to happen because Nintendo wants to avoid any lawsuits and money that they would have to shell out. Because I
Mm-hmm.
agree, I think that would become a huge thing. It's kind of like when Apple got sued by the European Union for not using USB-C for their
Mm-hmm.
charger. So the next iteration of the iPhone, Apple was like, screw it, no more Apple Lightning or whatever the hell they were using. We're going to switch to USB-C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm not
I hope
saying
so.
that you didn't have a good point there, Blue, because that makes sense. It makes sense for you to ban the account. If it's tied to an
Mm-hmm.
email address, whatever, then people can just go and create another email address and go through all that rigmarole to get back online with a new account. But
Right.
um, you'd think that Nintendo would want to keep money coming into their pockets. So ban the account, have
Mhm.
somebody create a new account, get back online with a new account, be able to buy games with that new account, download games with that new account, keep the money flowing in, and not just ban or brick the system entirely to where they're going to have to come back. And because that's going to turn a lot of people off. If you brick my system, if I know that you're going to do that, why would I want to go out and buy another system?
Right.
Yeah, after I spent $450 on it, and you're going
Exactly.
to brick my system. But if you think about it, like if we say the life cycle of the Switch 2 is going to be 10 years,
Mhm.
think of all the software sales you will not get on that bricked Switch.
Of course. Yep.
Secondhand or not, that brick Switch is now no longer generating income for your company. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
Right. 100%. And if you do sell that Switch 2 to somebody else, you are right. They will then log in with their account, be able to go in and download games and buy games and stuff and keep that revenue train coming into Nintendo. So that makes sense.
Agent Neil says,
Go ahead.
Agent Neil says, even the old Xbox 360 bans only ban the console and not the account. They want you to buy another one.
Oof.
It doesn't make sense to me. That makes zero sense to me.
I don't think I can think of it as like an extra security feature because maybe it's really easy for you to just make a new account and get around the ban.
Well,
But
because
that's on them though, right? Because isn't it? It's a whole IP thing. It's a whole,
IP, and then wouldn't they be able to tell if this credit card or this phone number is already attached to this account? So you can't have another account that has this phone number attached to it. Detach your phone number or credit card from the old account. Well, that account's banned, so you can't. Well, sorry.
Yeah, but couldn't you just buy like a $6 SIM card, throw it into your phone,
Oh,
and
sure.
activate it, and then never, and just chuck the
Get
SIM
a
card?
burner phone. Yeah, get a burner phone. Never
more
use
or
it.
less. Right.
Or, and here's a thought, get the stick out of your ass and just let people pirate a game or two.
Clutch the pearls.
You're going to
Right.
make more money in the long run by not banning these people and by not bricking these consoles.
To your point, I think they would actually spend a lot less money trying to retrieve assets and do all that kind of stuff than they would just letting it happen. But it's kind of like right now, people who shoplift, the retail workers have been told not to approach, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because getting beat up or potentially killed for merch at their shop it's not a good look, to say
Yeah.
the least.
And the liability lawsuits that come from having
Right.
customers and employees get hurt
Mhm.
over a $2 candy bar.
Right.
Not quite worth it.
Right. So I think I'm gonna change my name though to Twinklink and see how it goes. See if I get permabanned.
You don't even have a Switch 2.
No, I'm not on the
Yeah.
Switch 2. On the Switch 1. See if just test the waters, right?
And you're not a
Yeah.
twink. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm more like a bear or an otter.
I'd say an otter.
Yeah.
Well, if Twinklink gets you banned, then you'd think Otterlink should as well.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at our top 3, 1 new release.
I'm
for the
Ron
week.
Burgundy. Mecha Break, Xbox Series XS and PC. Squad Up and Mecha Break, a multiplayer third-person shooter offering players 3 game modes filled with high-octane ground and aerial combat. Choose your mecha and battle at breakneck speed across 3 action-packed modes. Ace Arena 3v3, Operation Verge 6v6, and Operation Storm PvPvE. Dodge beams, weave through explosions, and dominate the battlefield. A game so awesome it'll stun you and make you not be able to read the copy. Based on this tremendous description this week, Ryan, what are you choosing?
Okay, so Mecha Breaks should be, on paper, the game I want. I love Gundams, right?
He's already shaking his head, though.
Correct.
Should be the game I want.
right. I've actually got the entire collection of Gundam Wing VHS tapes sitting only a stone's throw away. Yes, I'm aware. Fuck you. That was a long cough. Uh, and uh, the thing is, I watched the trailer for this, and while it looks kind of cool, the gameplay looks cool. Um, Visually, why does this look like it's Gundam from the early 2000s? The bad CGI. It looks
Mm,
really crappy. And the thing is, everything else in the game looks really nice, but the Gundams look super smooth. You remember like the old CGI where everything looked like it was, almost shiny. It was so smooth looking, right? There was no kinks in the armor, nothing wrong with it. Uh, so visually, this is not what I'm looking for. However, I am willing to forego that if I hear that this has actual, like, legitimate Gundam gameplay, right? Where you're flying all over the place, you got your thermal energy weapons and yada yada yada. If I find out that that's the case, I'll check it out. But from just first glance, it's disappointing, is what I'll say. So
Oh,
right now, I'm gonna pass. It's a right
okay. Well, that's interesting. Blue. How about you? What are you picking?
well, I don't like shooters. I don't like Gundams. So, yeah, Ryan's over there pouting, arms folded.
How dare you not like what I
Yeah. So, as D is pointing out in the chat, Mario Strikers just dropped on Nintendo Switch Online for the GameCube, which I freaking love. So I am gonna skip Mega Break. I'm gonna go play Mario Strikers.
All right. Blues
now. You know
reviews
what?
out.
I second that actually.
What about you, Donnie?
I have no interest in Mecha Break. I'm not a mecha person. However, like I've never played what's the one game for Xbox 360 with the huge freaking controller?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Battle, no.
Somebody in the chat will get it. I just cannot think
Yeah,
of
yeah, I
it
know
off
what
the
you're
top of
talking
my
about.
head.
It's got all the controllers, right?
Something
Yeah.
battalion. Steel
Steel
battalion.
Battalion.
Yeah.
Steel
Golden, I
Battalion.
got it. I've always wanted to play that game, and I feel like that's kind of like a mecha game, if I'm not mistaken. But never played it. Gundam doesn't do anything for me. The whole Gundam thing. I I like Voltron. Not really in line with
Don't you
Gundam.
compare
So
Voltron to Gundam?
I'm not trying to.
Oh, you got the finger wag.
I'm not trying to. I just never Gundam never did it for me.
If you want to compare Voltron to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I'm okay with that comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's not going to do it for me. Super Mario Strikers, like you said, just dropped on Nintendo Switch Online. I don't really care for Super Mario Strikers. Whatever. Like I said, nothing, absolutely nothing video game wise, new stuff is enticing me doing anything for except for Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. I am anxiously awaiting that because I will be getting that one on day one and I will be playing the shit out of it.
Donnie is just jaded beyond belief.
I am. I just everything sucks. It's like I want that.
I'm sorry, this is coming from like the most nihilistic person I know.
Yeah, but I'm still looking forward to games. Not
Fair
this
enough.
week, but normally.
You fall before me
See-
says nobody else likes mechs except for Ryan and myself. Well, and other Ryan, Coffee Ryan, he likes mechs.
True. Yeah, Games with Coffee likes Max.
It's okay, we're the sophisticated ones.
Mhm.
Sophisticated.
Okay, damn it, Frank. Yes, okay, the Marvel beat 'em up and the 2D Terminator and Ninja Gaiden. Okay, you got me. You called my bluff. I am excited for those, but where are they? Where I want them now. I'm gonna play a Veruca Salt. I want them now.
So he just swung wildly from jaded beyond belief to entitled gamer. Give it to me now.
I do like to swing. What can I say?
Pineapple Donnie.
uh,
My emotions, people. My emotions.
uh-huh. All right, before we move on, let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. This segment is proudly sponsored by the Retro Game Club podcast. It's a fantastic, family friendly retro gaming podcast. In each episode, Rob and a guest pick 2 games to play and discuss, as well as news, interviews, and other topics. Right now, they want to know what's the furthest you've gotten in an arcade game on a single credit? Send your answers to email@retrogameclub.net or follow the link in the show notes.
I wanna know. Oh, 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 oh. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to a lot of arcade games. You can't be like, how far did you go? Because you just
Yeah.
continue. So, um, I mean, one credit. I'm terrible. I've beaten arcade
Yeah.
games, not on one credit.
Yeah, I was
Pumping
gonna say
quarters into them.
I have never been a one credit clear caliber kind of gamer. So I will say I used to be able to get pretty far in like the old Area 51, but could I tell you
Yeah.
exactly how far? Nah, I got nothing.
Actually, Mega Retro Man, I believe, is looking to do a one credit clear on UN Squadron for Summer Games done quick, and I believe that's actually happening in the morning at like 4 a.m. my time
Ooh.
tomorrow. So best of luck to him. I know
Yeah,
that,
we're gonna catch the VOD.
right?
Now, I have one credit cleared some Super Nintendo / Sega Genesis games, but not arcade games.
Right. Oh, it's funny that we mentioned that though. The kids had over my niece and nephew over this last weekend, and they've been enamored with the Donkey Kong machine as well as the Pac-Man machine. And
Mhm.
they go, how many levels does this game have?
Oh, honey.
Right, right,
Goes on forever.
right. I was
Sweet
like, that's
summer
not how
child.
arcade games work. And they're like, well, what happened? I mean, I saved Pauline. I was like, well, if you notice, it just keeps going, right? So like, well, what's the point of it?
To get the high score.
Right, to
It-
get as high a score as it can.
It's like life. Every time
Mhm.
you think you win, just start over.
Oh no.
Yeah. Playpod said beating OG Donkey Kong is one. DK64 got me good at it.
Yep.
You
Well,
beating the OG Donkey Kong? Like you came to a kill screen? You're that good at the OG Donkey Kong?
that would be impressive.
Yeah, I would be impressed. Huh. Billy Mitchell
Alright.
would be too.
No, you didn't get there. I here, have some of my hot sauce.
My hat shush.
Why does Billy Mitchell sound like Adam Sandler?
In my head, Billy Mitchell sounds like them.
Get in the hot sauce bottle.
Nice little Nicky impression. I'll give you that. Steve Weeby, get in the hot sauce. All right. Thank you for coming, students. Please take your seats and welcome to a new segment called Professor Rybread's Nostalgia 101. It's not new. I just felt like being nostalgic about nostalgia. So, in today's
Wow.
lesson, yep, we'll be celebrating a film that turned 35 this year. Those turtles in a half shell and we're green. We're, of course, going to be talking about TMNT, the movie. Yes.
I love
Straight up. Rock
that
on.
movie. Still holds up to this day.
Oh, 100%. Blue, you probably didn't see it when it came out.
I have never seen it.
Oh my god!
Oh, what the hell?
I think we should just stop the podcast, have her watch it, and then I'll come back to this.
We will not be releasing any new episodes until Blue watches
Right,
the
I'm on
original
strike.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You guys honestly think I'm gonna like it?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
turtles. It's funny. It's entertaining, and it's gritty. It's dark, like your soul.
Yeah.
Okay, the chat is shocked and dismayed and disappointed and
Intervention time says you fall before me, Blue.
yeah,
We need
okay.
to talk.
You know, I
We
apologize.
come into a room.
I apologize for letting everyone down.
All right, so I got to get my composure. Okay, I'm back.
Oh, think you know some.
You ever had one of those movies that's more than a movie? Kind you just
Yes.
didn't watch, you lived it. Kind of film that's soaked into your bones, your schoolyard conversations, your Halloween costumes, your pizza orders. For me, that movie was, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990. The Turtles were on the big screen, and it felt like the world finally understood what we kids had known all along. Now let's rewind back to 1984. Now, back then, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wasn't a toy aisle empire. It was a black and white indie comic created by two broke artists, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, who were joking around with sketches of martial artist reptiles. It was meant to be a parody, a wink to the grim and gritty comic trend of the day, but something happened. The joke turned into a hit, and before long, it spawned a toy line, a cartoon, and a generation of kids who thought heroes in a half shell were just part of the natural order of things. And I was one of those kids, and besides Blue, we all were.
Yeah,
And in the
yeah, yeah.
late 80s, when rumors started flying of a live action Ninja Turtles movie being made, that was like hearing Santa Claus was going to drop kick the Easter Bunny in a pay per view event. It was that exciting. But here's the twist: most of us didn't know as kids. The movie almost didn't happen. Hollywood didn't get it. Most studios passed. Too weird, too violent, too turtley. But one studio took a chance, New Line Cinema, basically the indie underdog of the film world at the time, and that made all the difference. Steve Barron came on to direct. He was known for music videos like "Take on Me" by Aha, and he had the vision. Take the dark mood of the original comics, mix in with some good charm and goofiness of the cartoon, and wrap it all in some serious practical magic to bring the turtles to life. They called in the big guns, Jim Henson's Creature Shop. They finally came to see the four brothers kick their way into our hearts. And the movie dropped on March 30th, 1990. And if you were a kid back then, it felt like the Super Bowl, the Oscars, and your birthday all collided in a sewer. I'll never forget seeing those suits on the green scene for the first time. These weren't cartoon turtles, they were real in a way that only practical effects could be. You could see the wrinkles in their skin, the shine in their eyes, and their mouths moved when they would say cowabunga. Each turtle was performed by a stunt actor inside the suits, with puppeteers controlling the facial expressions off screen, and then voice actors dubbed the lines over afterwards. A crazy dance of technology and talent, Leonardo was voiced by Brian Tacci, Donatello by Corey Feldman. Yes, that Corey Feldman. Michelangelo had the perfect surfer charm thanks to Robbie Rist and Raphael. He was the only turtle where the actor inside the suit, John Payas, also did the voice. And you can feel it. He's raw, intense, and the emotional heart of the team. We also got Judith Hogue as April O'Neil, less jumpsuit, more New York grit, and Elias Codius as Casey Jones, the hockey mask vigilante who looked like he wandered in from a completely different movie and somehow worked perfectly. Let's not forget Kevin Clash as the voice of Splinter, the same man who voiced Elmo, believe it or not.
Whoa.
Yes, that's a mind blow, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Kids. Critics didn't really get it. Some called it too dark, too silly, too violent, but kids, we got it. We felt it. The themes, family identity loss, standing up for what's right, even if you're a mutant and live under Manhattan. Those weren't lost on us. The film made over $200 million worldwide, turning a $13 million indie project into a cultural phenomenon. At the time, it was the highest grossing independent film ever made. And we were just quoting it. We were living it. Suddenly, every playground had four kids yelling, "I'm Michelangelo," and at least one poor soul had to be Splinter. Looking back, I realize how much the movie should have worked, or shouldn't have worked. Rubber suits, animatronic martial arts, talking animals. It's a recipe for disaster on paper, but what they made was magic. I still remember the emotional beat where Splinter tells the turtles he loves them, sitting in a rusty cage, battered and bruised, and it hit. Spoiler alert for you, Blue. Even all of the jokes and pizza and skateboard flips, the movie had heart. Sure, it launched a couple of sequels, Secret of the Ooze in 1991, Vanilla Ice, Ninja,
Go, Ninja,
Rap.
go, Ninja, go.
And the time-traveling TMNT3, we don't talk about that. It is essentially the prequels to Star Wars. We forget that it exists. And they were fun in their own way. But man, the third one, like the turtles look so crappy.
Oh yeah, it looks horrible.
But nothing matched the first one, let's be honest. So it wasn't perfect, but it was ours. It was weird and bold and brilliant and a little too violent for its own good, but it made me believe that a rat could raise 4 turtles into heroes. And honestly, that's the kind of movie magic we don't see often enough anymore.
I hope
So
that was a real note that the studio got too turtly.
too turtly. It's what's the word? Turtly. Too
Yeah, it's
turtly.
too turtly. Am I not turtle enough for your turtle club?
Master Disguise. That's not
That
a
movie
well-known-
sucked.
It's terrible.
Yes.
Well, thank you for attending today's Nostalgia 101. And just a reminder, if you have an idea for a story you'd like to hear, message us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com and we might feature your suggestion.
I want an Elmo cut of this movie where all of Splinter's
Oh my God.
lines are said as Elmo. It says,
I'm proud of you, my sons, to know you have learned the final and greatest truth of the ninja. The ultimate mastery comes out of the body, but of the mind.
if they did
Oh.
that, I would love it.
Oh my God.
Ironically, the easiest way to get that done.
AI.
Yeah. Oh, we're killing ourselves.
Yeah.
GoldenEye says, I tried to watch the third one with my kids. Yeah, they got bored. It's weird. They travel back in time and like you meet like the ancestor of Splinter that came over on a boat, and it's just weird. The whole thing's
It's a rat.
weird.
Well, and not to end on a downer, but apparently the Halo studios are also getting layoffs. It's
Oh,
being
jeez.
announced.
Ugh.
So
Thanks for that, Blue. You couldn't wait until after we were done. Appreciate that.
I wanted to get it in before the end of the episode.
Always trying to get it in before the end. Nice.
Yeah, and
Well, thank you for listening to episode 172 of Gamers Week Podcast. And a big thank you to the Retro Game Club podcast. Love Retro BTW, Pixelpon Production Company, and absolutely the best podcast, A Work in Progress, for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to check out their links in the show notes. And if you want to connect with Gamers Week, follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Gamers Week PC. Watch us live here on Twitch at twitch.tv/GamersWeek Podcast, where we record live every Wednesday at 8:30 Central Standard Time. Email us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com. Visit the merch store at gamers-week-podcast.creator-spring.com, or if you want to do it the easy way, follow the link in the show notes. And last but not least, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/gamersweek. And finally, since you made it all the way to the end of the episode, please leave us a rating and review to let us know how we did. We really do value your feedback. And while you're there, consider subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice.
yeah, coming soon to the
Hey,
merch
Meta,
store.
what is this
the
artwork?
Dr. Bobby's Baloney Pony Meat Shack shirt.
You said that
You
so
know-
easily.
Rolled off the tongue.
It did. It really did. It was much easier than last week.
Was it the same
Well-
last week? Baloney Pony?
No, it was all the Xbox VR or whatever the
Oh, that's right. That's right. The same.
It's
Yeah.
just Xbox.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just S whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Well, thank you guys for stopping by for the live show. We always appreciate it. We appreciate the comments and just the suggestions. So thank you guys. It means a lot to us. So can't thank you enough for being a part of the show.
Oh, and happy Independence Day.
Yeah, happy 4th for those who celebrate. So, do we have an idea who we're going to raid here, Donaldo?
Yeah, we're going to raid our friends Pixelpon Production Company right now. Dux is doing a video editing stream and just chatting, so let's go
Nice.
ahead and send you guys on over to him and hang out with him, show him some love, and we'll be back here next Wednesday. I will be less tired. And thank you for everybody, all the new people that I'm seeing in the chat tonight. We do, like Brian said, we do appreciate when you guys stop by and hang out with us. It makes the podcast that much better.
100%.
All right, we're gonna raid Pixelpon Production Company, and you guys have yourself a great night. Talk to Dux, tell him we said hi. And we'll see you next week. I don't know why I was looking over there. You're right there. There you go. All right. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. We're gonna put Donnie to bed.
Peace. Stop.